So let me make sure I get this straight. So your answer to the question of why your God, when he made his first children and they rebelled, a third of them rebelled, that he made no way for them to receive forgiveness, is that he knew the heart of Satan and that he would never repent. That's your answer. So what you're saying is that when your God made me, your God knew that I would never, that I was going to believe in him because I was raised to, but then that I would walk away from the belief in this God and never come back to this God. And so therefore your God decided that I'm going to create Lorenzo Reed just so he can go and burn for an eternity in this lake of fire, because his name will not be found in the book of life. That is your response, your answer to the question of why he didn't make a way for his first children, the ones that he made, who knew of his existence, who lived and dwelled with him, that he just already, that's Calvinism. He just already knew what they were going to do. That's Calvinism. That's predestination. So you're insinuating then that everyone who has ever been created on the planet, who believed in the Greek gods, who believed in the gods of Ifa, the Mesoamerican gods, who believed in the South Pacific gods, that he created them knowing that they would never hear of him and therefore be thrown into this lake of fire. Through all the genocides that you find in your book, through all the mistreatment of women in your book, the mistreatment of children in your book, this has got to be the worst decision your God has ever made. That he had a failed plan from the very beginning when he created man, because he knew that he had a child of his who had rejected him and would then tempt and cause the fall of man. That he would trick Eve into eating the apple, who then would give it to Adam, and then the man would fall, and that man would go through judges and kings and go through all this process only to eventually have to sacrifice himself to himself, so that those who came after the Jesus so-called sacrifice would then have the ability to be forgiven, but knowing full well that the majority of the world would reject him, because the majority of the world does not believe in Christianity. The majority of the world believes in some other deity or no deity at all. So this was his grand plan. So why didn't he just make those and only create those people who would believe in him and worship him and set them in heaven from the very beginning? Why go through all the process? Why have to deal with it? Well, I'll tell you why. Because this is man-made creation. This is man deciding and determining based on observing nature that there must be some God. And then after observing that there must be some God, then there is the selfishness of this is our God and that is your God. And so our God is for us, and your God may be for you, but our God is for us. And then that evolved into this is the only God, and all other gods are false gods, and therefore anyone who worships or believes in a false God, they will be tormented for all eternity. That makes no sense. I'm smarter than your God, because I would never devise a plan to have children only to torment them. So what do you guys think? Always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.